What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've got here right next to me the brand new hot off the shelves Montech Sky 2 case. Now this is going to be more of a review video. There's tons of unboxings, tons of build videos that you can see from the pros, but I'll go ahead and include some quick footage of that just so you get an idea of feel of the process and what's included in the box. Now, I'm not sponsored in any way by Montech. I went out on Amazon and I purchased this for $100 out of my own pocket. And by the way, if you're feeling generous, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Support the little guys like myself in a world full of Goliaths. All right, so the Montech Sky 2, the reason why I went with this case is because it features a lot of great design language and features found in a lot of different cases, and they kind of took bits and pieces of a lot of different brands and manufacturers and put it into one stellar case. So what is it kind of similar to? Now I see a lot of design language from Leon Lee, from NZXT in this case, and also the Hyte Y40. It's similar to the Hyte Y40 in a sense that it has the intake fans on the side. You get this kind of panoramic view all throughout. And with this one, you do get this front right bezel here, where the Y40 is completely seamless. So that's one negative to this, if that really matters to you. Now with the overall design, I do see a lot of NZXT with kind of that boxy minimalistic look. Now with this bottom mesh charcoal color, it looks a lot like the Leon Lee cases that I see online as well. And just like the Y40, this does feature a fan on the bottom pulling air upwards. Now this one is above that belt line here, whereas the Y40 is completely on the bottom of this area pushing air upward. And of course, a big difference with this one versus the Hyte Y40 is that the graphics card is a standard orientation, whereas the Y40 you can only mount it vertically. Now I kind of saw that as a negative because who knows what kind of GPU technology we're gonna have in the future where something might need to be in a standard orientation like this, whereas the Y40 you're kind of locked in. Now if you do want that vertical orientation, they do sell a kit that is compatible. You basically remove all of the panels here and you can mount that vertically with a riser for the GPU, and everything will be golden. And then after that, you're still looking at around that 150 price range, considering the case and that kit. So it brings it right in range with that Y40. So in my opinion, this versus the Hyte Y40, I would get this personally, just because you get a little bit more for your money. And again, you have the option of still mounting your GPU in that standard orientation. So really quickly, let me show you guys my unboxing of this case and my PC build in 3, 2, 1. So positives, I would say definitely a whole lot of airflow. So as far as ventilation goes, this one has a ton of ventilation. Like I said, this whole area up front, and it's got a couple windows here on the side pulling fresh air upward. You also have these two fans on the left side that has a mesh filter pulling fresh air in. You have an exhaust here. You can mount 3 exhaust fans up on top or a radiator, but essentially I think I'm fine with this. I might add one more exhaust up at the top, but I think this is more than plenty. Now with this bottom fan, I really like it because it shoots fresh air directly into your GPU. It'll keep it running cooler and longer without having to turn on the GPU fans. Now if you're running an air cooler like myself, it's really cool that it blows straight back and then exhausts all that heat straight out the back of the case and not recirculating it inside the internals. I really love that fish tank aquarium look to it. No matter if you're looking from the front or on the right side, you get a complete view of all your fancy components, all that RGB, and of course all that fancy wiring that you took your time delicately laying out. All right, so some of the cons. So number one, I would say the spacing here on the left side behind the motherboard and everything is a little bit tight. Now they have that really nice channel with the Velcro straps similar to what you would find in an NZXT case. But once I got all my cable management done, I used the Velcro straps to cinch everything down. The back side panel was really hard to force on and get it attached. I really had to flex the side panel to get everything working. Now to get around that, I had to take about maybe a third of the cables out of that channel and then route them to the side of it. It's not as pretty, but it's functional, and I was able to get the side panel on without any flexing. Now another con is the loudness of the fan. So right now, this is actually right next to the case. But of course, with a high flow design like this, you're bound to get a little bit more noise. But as soon as I finished my build, powder on the system, the fans were super loud. It was like this thing was ready to take off. And no matter what I changed in my BIOS settings, I could not get those fans to lower down from 100%. And what I noticed is the header on the back has 6 fan outputs, and Montech from the factory puts them at 5, 6, and 7 versus 1, 2, and 3. And no matter what I changed in the voltage settings, they were still at 100%. So after I moved these 3 intake fans to 1, 2, and 3, I was able to lower it down, and it now shows the RPM at about 700 or 800 RPMs, which is adequate, and the volume is acceptable. But it's kind of interesting that they put those fans from the factory at 4, 5, and 6. Someone kind of dropped the ball there. Other than that, you get ample space up on top for a radiator. As you can see, I run full air cooling, so I'm not going to utilize that. I possibly will install 1 exhaust fan on the top, but you have that upper space available to you if you want to run a radiator or even install 3 exhaust fans. You have ample room there. All of the channeling is up on top as well for your wiring, and all is good. Now with these fans, I really love the RGB. I've actually got the brightness turned way down because they were super bright, but I love the RGB ring around them. They're not square, they're not round, they're just somewhere in between, and it looks really attractive in my opinion. Now for the graphics card, I've actually got a 3060 Ti on the way. It should be pretty similar to the size of this 5600 XT, but you have a ton of room if you have a 3-fan graphics card design. Other than that, I really like the captive screw design. They feel quite solid. I know that the Hyte has more of snap paneling. This I prefer, actually. Kind of reminds me of, again, something that NZXT does with their H510 and H5 series. Now, one word of advice if you're building in this case: install your bottom cabling first, because once you install your power supply, it kind of blocks that small little channel on the bottom, and that prevents you from routing your cables with the power supply intact. So definitely install your wiring first, and then install your power supply. The rubber grommets on the top channel here are all very, very nice. This bottom one for the graphics card I did notice was super flimsy, and that might fail, so you just got to be extra delicate with that unit. Other than that, I had no issues. The build went completely straightforward. Everything was perfectly fine. Motherboard installed no problem. All of my wiring was good, and yeah, I'm just really, really stoked about the way this looks and the way it came out. This is exactly what I was looking for in a PC case. Now, if you guys are interested in checking this PC case out, I'll go ahead and insert some links in the description below. It doesn't cost you guys anything extra, but it does help support me, so thank you in advance. Now, I really like that this case features dual USB 3.0 headers at the top of the case, and also a USB-C header, which is very rare, especially in a case of this price point. So overall, I highly recommend this case. I definitely give it 2 thumbs up. It's definitely one of the best looking cases, and probably the best buy for $100. Now, this glass does feature a very, very subtle tint. I probably would have wanted a little bit more tint, but I think it's fully acceptable, and it's definitely better than having 100% translucent glass. Now, the thickness of the metal is a little bit thin, but nothing to worry about. Now, I did notice that when I had to remove my power supply to run my bottom cabling, The paint did rub off on where those 4 screws were located, so definitely take your time and be careful of any scratching because the paint will scratch off on this metal. Alright, so overall I definitely give this case 2 thumbs up. It's definitely one of the best looking cases on the market today and also one of the best buys for $99. Now this does come in black, white, and a blue color as well. Now, at the time of making this video, I believe the white case is $5 more and the blue case is $10 more. So keep that in mind when shopping for which color you want to go with. I typically gravitate more towards black cases anyway, so it kind of worked out for me. But of course, that price difference is due to the sales volume of that color, with black being the most sold color. All right, you guys, that's going to sum it up for me today. Thank you so much for watching and make it to the end of the video. Again, if you're feeling generous, hit that subscribe button, like and comment as usual, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.